Ice up, son. What's up? Ice up, son. What's up? Carolina keep pounding. Carolina keep pounding. The Panthers on a prowl will continue driving down the field to the red zone. We just got a first down and 10. Smitty on a loose, wide open tear again. Stack 6 more on the board, looking like a win. With the 6-game winning streak, put them out their misery. Brady wanna cry when the ref threw the penalty. Panthers got a hot team, Patriots the enemy. Draw the first blood, different team than we used to be. Cam swerving through the traffic, signaling a first down. Fans on their feet and the crowd getting really loud. Offense did a job off the field. There's a towel. Bank of America. Stadium is going down. Defense got him pushed back to the end zone. Hardy with the sack. That's a safety and we got the ball. Rushing on your shotgun. Staring at the barrel, y'all. All New England fans hear him saying that ain't fair. Ice up, son. What's up? Ice up, son. What's up? Carolina keep pounding. Carolina keep pounding. Ice up, son. What's up? Ice up, son. What's up? Carolina keep pounding. Carolina keep pounding. Better watch the linebacker, he can read you like a book. Run 40 yards just to tackle Luke. Got him shook, Tobert like a tank. And D'Angelo with the fake. Stiff arm, out of bounds, 25 to game. Stewart back, healthy 3 lethal running backs. It's suicide, add the wide receivers, it's a rout. Secret weapon, make plays, Greg Olsen make it happen. Keep pounding on these haters, we ain't playing John Madden. Legion of the hometown go boom. Force and fumbles, Panthers making sure the ball is loose. Jack move, Charles Johnson, yeah, he will come attack you. State of mind, mentally and physically, we pass you. Godfrey in the nickel back, and he making sure we're safe. Panthers on the prowl, we gon' come and elevate the state. Hard fought thriller, only 59 seconds left. Panther fans on the feet, heart beating out the chest. Ice up, son. What's up? Ice up, son. What's up? Carolina keep pounding. Carolina keep pounding. Ice up, son. What's up? Ice up, son. What's up? Carolina keep pounding. Carolina keep pounding. Ice up, son. What's up? Ice up, son. What's up? Carolina keep pounding. Carolina keep pounding. Ice up, son. What's up? Ice up, son. Carolina keep pounding. Carolina keep
All right. Here we are for the Panthers versus Broncos preview stream. We are currently 1-6 as a team right now. We're going to get into it. I believe we got a long way to go, folks. We got a long way to go. But you know what? We got this far so far. And I really have to say, there's a lot of work to be done. Thus far, 1-6. We're facing those Denver Broncos. hit that like button, hit that sub button, hit that bell, select all, leave a comment down below if you feel like doing so. And don't forget to check out the Facebook group page. Keep pounding in all caps for in-game post polls, opinions, and reactions to NFL news, such as scheduling for the channel, and for the Keep Pounding Fantasy Football League, courtesy of Yahoo Sports app. And if you want to get your hands on an intro like this, if you're a content creator, or create your own panels, contact Lindara Ty through Instagram. That's Lindara Ty, Lindara is the first name. Ty, Tai is the last name. If you want cool intros, stuff like this for your stream, she prices fair, and she is very patient and very kind. So, ladies and gentlemen, here we are again for yet another stream. And I gotta say, as long as I'm still breathing, I'm gonna be doing live streams, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome on in. I'm your host, Corey, and we're gonna get this started. Shout out Isaiah Sazik in the chat. Lions started 1-6 2 years ago, ended up 9-8. Anything is possible. I mean, he's right. There was a lot going on during that time period, though. You have to consider that. And the Lions were about to sell their stadium because they were not getting any ticket sales. It was just atrociously bad. You had horrible coaching, you had injuries that were mounting, but nowhere near as bad as our injuries. And you had ownership that just didn't care in Detroit. I will say this, I do believe David Tepper does care. As evidenced by the drink that he threw onto the fan because he's frustrated, And he wouldn't be making moves to fire coaches if he didn't care, But my problem is with this, you don't know what you're doing as an owner, and you keep hiring the wrong people, But this staff, I think, is different. I like Dave Canales. I like Evero. I like um, Dan Morgan, and I think that between the three of them, we can put together something that's a winning team at some point down the line. We've had a lot of bad injuries, injury list a mile long. For starters. Secondly, um, we've had players that have been inconsistent that we need to sweep out of here. Sometimes you just got to break out the broom. You know what I mean? And just get rid of the dust. But that it is not working out for you in your house. And we got to do a little bit of spring cleaning, man, at the end of the year. I hate to say it, man, but there's some players on this team that are just not getting it done. As much as I like them as people, it's just it working for us, And maybe it'll work out for a different team if they're going somewhere else. But for us, it ain't working. You know, maybe they're just in the wrong system. Maybe they're just not motivated enough. Whatever it may be, you know, it just isn't working. Um, and I could name about five of those players right now, but I'm not going to. And I think some of you know who two of them are that I'm going to name, and I have named before. So I'm not going to get into that. This isn't the time or place to throw out blame. You know, this is the time to start fixing the problems. And I think once we start realizing what our problems actually are and start agreeing on whatever problems are here in Carolina, we can start fixing them. At this point, it's the same issues as every week. I've been calling them out. You know, our management hasn't been adjusting, and it's just I don't know what else to tell you. You know, I don't know what else to tell you. But I think the majority of the problem is our players this year. You know, because they're not executing the way they should be. They're not, staying motivated the way they should be. They're not uh, working on their mechanics and fundamentals the way they should be. And it's been that way for a handful of years, And this is not a coaching problem. This is not a GM problem. With sorry about that. Um, I had to have my notifications on my phone so I could work. But you know, the mechanics and fundamentals, that's not a new problem. That's not a coaching problem. That's a player problem as well. Because you have to get that stuff done on your own if you're a player. You have to figure that stuff out yourself in a lot of cases. And there's not an easy way to say this, but players get on your it, show some self-discipline. Show some self-discipline and get it done. You know, I give credit to where it's due to players that actually get it done. You know, I'll say this for Taylor Moton: the last two games that he played before he got injured were actually pretty decent games. And I have been throwing a lot of smoke at this dude, Smo. And tough love at him. To try to get him to wake up and get those fundamentals fixed. So he finally did, and then he got injured, and so now he is added to a huge collection of injuries right now. And when you go into the injuries list, I think half the problem is the fact that we have um, players that are trying to do too much because other players are not getting it done. So it to kind of give you an example of that. Okay, the defensive line is not getting it done, and the common stat line is assisted tackles, as I've pointed out many times in the last week here. Um, and that's not going to get it done stopping the run. It's a common theme. You go back and you look throughout the years of Carolina in the last 7 to 8 years, there are a lot of assisted tackles versus solo tackles from defensive line starting out. You can shift it back to linebackers. You can go to corners at times. It remains the same problem, and we're not getting people that can solo tackle. So that's where you start to fix that problem of run stopping. Then you work on fundamentals. You work on tackling. You work on, um, you know, are they stopping the right gaps? Are they doing what they're supposed to be doing? After film study. So that's where that would come in. But yeah, honestly, I'm starting to really buy in with Blitz here, who says that we should probably retool the entire defensive line again. Just reset it. Except for Derek Brown. Derek Brown can stay. But the rest, it ain't looking nice. Your futures aren't looking good. I'm just being honest. And that includes Clowney, who hasn't really been doing that much since he came here. If you're highly valuing sacks, then yeah, Clowney has not done anything this year. Nobody's done anything pass rush, really. We had to get uh, blitzes in there, to get a couple of those sacks. I give credit to what's his name? I think it was Charles Harris. Let me double check. I just want to make sure I'm crediting the right name because honestly, this dude has been doing work lately back there. No, 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 no. Yeah, Charles Harris. Yeah, that's who I was thinking of. Charles Harris has been getting some pressure back there and actually getting making some noise in the backfield from time to time. But it's been late in the game, and it's a little bit of a concern that we haven't been able to do that for 3 whole quarters. You know what I mean? Like that just shows you we don't have that type of talent right now, and we need to reset it. So, I mean, when Blitz pointed this out, that's when I started looking at the stats and I said, okay, what's going on here? Why are we not getting these tackles? Why are we not wrapping up? Why are we not doing what we're supposed to be doing? And it led me to the solo tackles column. Thus, it circles back around. All right, so when I say players are doing too much or having to do too much, when your defensive line is not getting the job done, it puts extra pressure on your linebackers to double up their duties. It puts up pressure on the corners, and it puts extra pressure on the safeties to do their jobs better. And that's going to get them injured at some point down the line. If they have to play Superman and try to save everybody, you know, on that D line, since we don't have Derek Brown anymore, it's going to get people hurt. And it's not a surprise that we have so many of these defensive players on the injured list right now. And also, you look at half of these players got hurt in practice too. So I don't know what drills we're doing during practices, but that's a little bit of a concern too. And I've been pointing that out every week. I'm worried about what might be causing some of this stuff, to happen. I'm not just looking at this schedule. I'm not just looking at, uh, who we're playing against. I'm not, I look at it big picture. I see everything. You know what I mean? Like, and looking at it with big picture vision, you have to see and start asking the big questions of what's causing the problems. What's really, really causing the problems? Dig deep. You know, don't just stay at the surface. Dig deep. And a lot of us here are realists, and we see things for what they really are. You know, a lot of Panthers fans have the Panther vision on. The Panther tunnel vision on. They only see what they want to see on certain things, and and to a degree, that's okay. If you are one of those fans, I'm not mad at you. You know, you got your way opinion and your thought process and your strong opinions of what you think should happen, and be done. But at the same time, like, some of the stuff that's being suggested is not helpful. It's actually harmful and toxic, and would put us in trouble, more trouble than we're in right now. I'm not going to name names. I'm not going to say what those opinions are. I think you can use your own intelligence and figure that out yourself. When you go through the pages and YouTube channels and stuff. You know, and you'll recognize, what's not healthy, what should not be done. You know, and like I said, I'm not here to start any trouble or start any division here. I want to be unified as a fan base. That's what I want. It's one love. You know what I mean? One love. We're one family, one huge family. And that's the way it should be. But at the same time, we got to take a realistic look at some of this stuff and just go, now that ain't right. This doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? And I take a look at some of the moves we made this year. There's a handful of moves that don't make sense. Okay? But at the same time, I do think Dan and Dave have the best of intentions for this team. I do believe that they will create a winning culture here in Carolina. It's just going to take time and it's going to take patience. You got to keep these guys here in the building. These are good people that know what they're doing. They were hired by an agency by Tepper, Tepper's agency. It wasn't Tepper himself that hired these two. So I think that's the difference here. So with that in mind, like, we're gonna start to see progress in little places, in the stats lines. Um, you'll notice it in big ways when we go 3 quarters with, say, Atlanta, 3 quarters with the Bengals, and beat the Raiders. You know, that's progress. That's what we want. We don't quite have the talent yet. So it's going to take two to 3 years to fully build up that talent again. But and for some of you, this is a broken record. Of what I'm saying right now. For some of you, it isn't. But once we get more talent after this year's draft and this year's free agency, I think we can start to make some noise in 2025. And I say start to make some noise because this year we ain't making no noise at all. That's the truth. That's the God honest truth right there. We're not at all. You know, we're not scaring anybody right now. We've got a Denver defense that's ranked in the top 5, coming in to this game. They beat the brakes off the Saints, and it's a concern. It's a legitimate concern. Um, I'm gonna be real with you. I don't know. I don't know that this team is going to straighten out this year or not. I feel like we could, you know, if we could put together two or three consistent good games in a row, and I'm not asking these guys to do more than they're capable of doing. That's the thing. You give me three quarters of a game against Atlanta, Cincinnati, or a Dallas or a Philadelphia team, I'll be satisfied with that right now because I feel like that's our peak at the moment. We're not able to go four whole quarters yet. We don't have that kind of talent yet, and it does take time and it does take money. So I know that's gonna piss off people. I know that's gonna frustrate people. It is what it is, man. You know. Um, but we got to do what we got to do. To get ourselves back on track. And this is a good starting point, but we got a lot of work to do. And a lot of Panthers fans are not patient people. They're really not. Well, let me respond to this text real quick, real quick. This is important. And now I get back to my point here. Just a second. Uh, all right, sorry about that. That was important. Um, Back to it. Um, Isaiah Isaac says, "I don't think we would be just looking for some hope." Yeah, yeah, I feel you on that. Following up his former comment about the Lions starting 1-6 2 years ago. Yeah, I feel you on that though, because if we follow the Lions blueprint, which we have been, you know, but we've been inconsistent throughout the year. That's the problem. And that's why I've been so pissed off and frustrated, at this team because I know that we've got more talent. I know we have more in us than this, and we're not showing it against the Bears and we're not showing it against the Commanders. I need consistent games like that, like those games against the Raiders, the Bengals, and Atlanta. I need that on a consistent basis for the rest of the year. Give me that for the rest of the year. And then I'll say, okay, now we know exactly where our problems are. We know exactly what to target going into this next offseason. We know what players to keep and which ones we should move on from. You know, it it's common sense. We may have one letdown game, and that's okay. I understand that, but you've got to keep moving. You've got to have some type of consistency. And that's the problem. We haven't been. This is the most inconsistent franchise I've ever seen. And it's been that way for years. We can date back to the John Fox days with that inconsistency. And it's frustrating because you expect something to come out of it and it doesn't. Um, but like I said, I pointed out what I was looking for. I want 3 whole quarters um, against teams like Philly, Dallas, maybe a half of football against KC because I know that we don't have that even remotely anywhere close to that type of talent. They just got DeAndre Hopkins, by the way. As if that wide receiver room wasn't terrifying enough. Good God. But yeah, now they've got him. You want to talk about something spooky on Halloween week? That's spooky. Oh my God. But I mean, honestly, if we put up 3 quarters against those teams, I feel like we have accomplished our goal. We have maximized our talent level to the best of our ability, for this year. Um, and that's not asking these guys to do too much more than what they already are able to do. It's never asking for too much. I don't do that. I will push these players to go a little bit beyond their comfort zones and try to get a little bit more than what they've been doing. But I'm not going to ask you to go and be Superman out there on the field. I never do that. You know what I mean? Because Superman was Cam Newton. Let's be honest. That was his thing, and he he always had that type of temperament too. Like it was always go out there and do the extra, you know, be the extra mile for my team. And I have always respected that about him. Back in his heyday, of course. We won't talk about after his heyday, but you know what I mean. Point being, that's his thing. I'm not going to ask for that when I know these guys can't give that. So give what you can give, you know? Take what you can take. That's what I'm asking of these players this year. Work on your craft, get better, develop, grow. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I consider progress this year. You show me that on a consistent basis, I will be satisfied. If you're making 1 tackle a game, make 2 tackles a game. Push yourself, you know? Go the extra mile and push yourself. You know, if you're getting 1 catch a game, get 2 catches if you're a wide receiver. If you're a tight end, don't just block. Go out there and catch some balls. You know what I mean? That's what I'm asking for. It's just that extra little bit. And I think it'll make a difference, on the stat sheets and on the scoreboard eventually. But it's going to take time. But like I said, I'm never going to ask for too much. I don't do that. Jarrell Ross, welcome to the stream. Broncos fan here. May the best team win. Indeed, indeed. May the best team win, sir. Unfortunately, I do believe it may be yours. But we'll see. Any given Sunday, though, right? We, uh, I will say this. David Screws made a certain point. He said that we have never beaten the Broncos in their house before. And he's correct. You go and look this up. It is absolutely correct. They've come to our house and we've beaten them there. But we've never gone out to Denver and actually won. and that includes the Super Bowl because Denver was the host team. So you can include that one in the mix too. Um, AKF, do you think the Panthers will be sellers at the deadline? It depends on what we're selling. And this leads into a whole rabbit hole. Um, I'll get back to that in a second. I want to address Isaiah Isaac's comment. Never a back-to-back winning season. Yeah, true. Correct. We have never had a back-to-back winning season in a long, long, long time. It's been way too long. Way too long. It's time to fix that. It is beyond time to fix that. And I think with the right players, with time and patience, with Dave Canales and Dan, I think we can fix it. Um, I'll get to Ajaro in a minute. I wanna I wanna address the AKF's statement here. Do you think the Panthers will be sellers at the deadline? Now, here's what I see happening. Realistically, I think that we'll try to move Miles Sanders. Um, we will attempt to move Bryce as well, but I doubt it. If we were serious about moving Bryce, it would be now. If we're not serious about it, we'll probably wait till the end of the year and then we'll try to make a move. So if you don't see anything regarding Bryce Young at that trade deadline, then don't sweat it. You'll probably see it at the end of the year. My whole issue, I'll, I'll, hmm, I want to get into that whole rabbit hole of Bryce Young, but I want to talk about the trade uh, packages and stuff first before I get into Bryce Young. Um, I think that if we try to do some trade packages with Miles Sanders and Bryce Young, I think there could be a greater chance of us moving these two players. First of all, there was a rumor regarding uh, Clowney being a target for trades. I don't know how true this is. You know, I heard it through my team, so I don't know. You know, I didn't explore it. I didn't have time to explore it properly, and go through the proper channels to look this stuff up for him. Because I had a lot on my plate today, schedule wise. But thus far, it's a rumor, unless somebody can confirm that. As far as Miles Sanders, we've been hearing a lot of chatter about Dallas being interested in Miles Sanders. Now, here's the interesting thing about that. If Dallas wants Miles Sanders, Philadelphia might make a run at him because they don't want him going to Dallas. This is what's going to get really juicy here because I don't know what Philly's going to be asking for. I believe that if you were to package up Ian Thomas with Miles Sanders, we would possibly get have to give up less value pick wise, and it would help us in the long run. You know, and in return, we would get more value. Ian Thomas hasn't really been doing anything, so he's realistically worth about a sixth. Um, he is a good blocking tight end, but that's about all he does. At the moment, that's all he does. Another team could explore him as far as like catching the ball and running routes and stuff like that, but I don't see it was a sink or swim year for him, for me in my book, and thus far he's sinking, bro. Like he hasn't done anything. He legit has not done anything this year, and it's disappointing. I was hoping so much, man, that under a new coaching staff, under a proper coaching staff, he might be able to break his glass ceiling. But I mean, well, the way we're using tight ends, you'd think something would have happened by now during practices or on the field on Sundays that would translate to Sundays, maybe. And put some stats on the board for him. Nope, it's disappointing, man, because I like the guy, I really do, and I did beat him. He's a really kind gentleman, and I would absolutely sit down and talk to him about anything. Very kind guy, but uh, kind gentleman is only half the thing that you have to be. You know, you got to produce on the field. If you don't produce on the field, it doesn't matter how nice you are. We got to get you up out of here. We got to replace you because there's a lot of hungry players out there, and all of them want your spot. So I'm really not happy with the depth underneath Tommy Tremble. To be real with you, I'm not. These guys are just not it. Felipe Franks should have probably been a training camp invitee. As far as I'm concerned, he's a 90-man training camp man. So is Jordan Matthews at this point. That's the level of talent we're talking about down that far. Honestly, I wouldn't have wasted my time with Felipe Franks unless you have something useful for him to do. And Ian just is a good blocking tight end, but there's like 100 of those in the league. You know, yeah, you're making how much money, but so is everybody else that's a blocking tight end. That's the thing. Yeah, it's okay to have him at third string right now because we will have injuries, and we did at some point this year to where we got knocked down to Felipe Franks on the depth chart, which is very, very concerning, by the way. But that's why you build up the depth chart right there. Is for situations just like that. But Ian just he hasn't gotten it done. So package him up with Miles Sanders, send him to Dallas. Dallas is looking for a tight end. They're looking for a running back. I think that's a win-win. Let's see what we get out of it. I would wait until the end of the year to move Xavier Woods, and here's why. We're really thin at safety right now, so um, I just don't think that's a good idea right now. However, I would like to see him split time with Jamie Robinson. I want to see what Jamie Robinson could do back there uh, for about half a game. let's just toss him out there against the Broncos and see how he does. I know a lot of people are going to get frustrated with that because, oh, Woods is a Pro Bowler. Excuse me. He was doing this, he was doing that with the Rams. And I mean, with all due respect, yes, he was doing those things. Now he's not. And I've had to give him a lot of tough love this year. So, contract wise, yeah, I and based on how thin we are at safety, I wouldn't move until the end of the year. And while we're at it, if you're moving Bryce Young, that's probably the same situation there. You just don't put Bryce on the field and you try out Jack Plummer and see how he does. We just moved him up from the practice squad, by the way. Um, I like Jack's timing. I like his accuracy. Um, I think he's a good developmental quarterback. We just got to put some real time into him and give him some real reps. Um, is he better than Bryce right now? Yes. Yes. I will say that. And it's hard to say that because when you put all that effort into getting a pick one round one, you trade all of that stuff away. You trade a DJ Moore, you trade all of that away, and you say, okay, we're getting a round one pick one quarterback. And you don't develop him properly, and now you're like, okay, now what do we do? Now he's down to third string level type talent. So a lot of people have questions here. What are we doing with Bryce? And like I said, I think sit on him until the end of the year, move Jack up, have three quarterbacks. This is why you have three quarterbacks in your room, just in case stuff like this should happen. And it, yeah, the main reason would be injuries, of course. But the second reason would be for situations like this where you have a round one quarterback that isn't cutting the cheese right now. You know, he's not getting it done. So you really need a Jack Plummer in that active roster to get this stuff done. This is what I've been hoping that the management would do all year. They should have left three quarterbacks on the roster all year long. That's why I've been really frustrated about that. I've been pushing for that all year. You guys know this. Like you see me ask for this on stream all year. This is not new. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not new. You always have to foresee stuff like this happening. And with the Panthers, if there's something that's toxic or injury related that's going to happen, it will happen with the Carolina Panthers. As of the last 7 to 8 years, I can almost guarantee it. It's like clockwork at this point. You know, and that's why you got to make moves like that. You got to have everything prepared and ready to go. So throughout the entire year, not just for a few weeks, but the entire year. You can play musical chess with the DBs and linebackers and stuff like that. That I don't care about. What I'm concerned about is making sure that one roster spot is filled with a third quarterback and a quarterback that you can trust. Jack, we trust you. Okay? Everybody knows we trust you, bro. Nobody's throwing you under the bus yet. Nobody. A handful of people, in preseason may have, but that's besides the point. They're just gonna say what they're gonna say anyway because they're haters. It is what it is. But you get to this point in the regular season, there should be three quarterbacks on that roster. Period. Every time I roll with a Madden 53-man roster, every single time, without fail, I've got three quarterbacks because I know what happens when you don't do that. I understand what happens when you don't do that. You're already shooting yourself in the foot when you don't do that. So the fact that we're just now doing that bothers me. Okay? It bothers me a lot. Now, like I said, another move that I feel like we've been needing to make for a while. Um, let's see. Let me see if I got this name right. Before I shoot my mouth off, I want to make sure I get this right. You guys know how I am. I like to make sure I'm not saying something stupid on stream. Um, we finally got Sam Franklin back. We signed a safety, Russ Yeast, to the active roster from the practice squad. Uh, Activated Caleb Farley. We put Chandler Wooten on the practice squad and TJ Smith to the practice squad. um, what I don't like is the fact that we're playing musical chairs with Marquise Hayes. I don't like that at all because Haynes actually was a huge help when he was starting for us in the 4-3. Now we're just like, should we keep him? Should we toss him? Should we keep him? Should we toss him? And it's just like, I don't like how we're playing with this dude right now. This is not cool. You know, we're lucky to get him back. We're very, very lucky to get this dude back. With the pressure that we have not been putting on quarterbacks right now, this dude could be a help, a big help. If we can get him, back in the second string again and doing what he was doing before. But the question is now, is he what he used to be? And that's That's the question everybody's been asking. Because, yeah, we cut him again. So now he's gone. And I already knew about the release, Marcos Cash. I already knew about that. But my whole thing is, does he have half the skills he used to? That's what frustrates me is like we sign him back thinking he does, and then we release him think now seeing that he doesn't, and it's just like watch him go back to the practice squad, next week, and I'm like, why are we playing musical chairs with players like this, man? Like, it frustrates me. It really, really does. Y'all can have Jaden Peavy. I don't care about a Jaden Peavy. Um, Cam Gill, Jonathan Harris. I mean, again, one of these signings, yet again, is another guy that has a ton of assists. It doesn't have solo tackles. You know, I don't. Hmm. I don't know, guys. I don't know. I don't know. It seems like we're solving the problem, but we're not. You know what I mean? We're solving the problem, but we're not. It's at least a drop in the bucket towards it. I give Dan credit, for trying, but it's just not. This is just not it. We need more talent. That's why I kept saying we need a defensive end in the first two rounds. One of the first two rounds. It's got to be a defensive end. I don't care where he comes from. He could come from Idaho for all I care. Just get the job done. You know what I'm saying? Get the job done. Put some heat on somebody, man. We just made Marcus Mariota last week look like a Pro Bowler again. Oh my god, man! Like I'm just so done with this. I'm so done with this, bro. That dude had enough time to file his taxes, wash his car, go order a freaking meal at McDonald's, and then come back and throw the ball. It's just insane how much time these guys have back there. And it's pissing me off because if we had signed these people, the right people, this would not be happening. Everybody wanted Clowney. Everybody was talking all that mad crap about getting Clowney in here. And then Clowney does nothing. Absolutely nothing. Who else do you want in here? Yeah, Clowney's here to retire. I'm telling y'all that right now. He's not going anywhere. He's going to retire here. He came here to be close to his family. You know that man doesn't give two rips about how this team is doing. No, it ain't time to tear it down, Marcos Cash. Come on now, stop it. Nah, we just need to reset that defensive line though. That's half our problem right there. We got to reset that defensive line because it's putting pressure on everybody on the defense. To double down on their jobs. And have to do too much. It's getting people injured, and availability is the best ability. As they say. So, if these guys aren't available on Sundays, how are we going to use them? I don't know. You tell me. Speaking of people that are not available, let's go to the wide receivers real quick. Adam Thielen and Deontay Johnson are not going to be playing. I don't need to tell you that we already have a problem with wide receiver separation. This is not going to help. This is not going to help at all. And this issue's been ongoing throughout the year. Granted, Andy throwing it into triple coverage isn't helping, but you know, it's definitely not helping his case right now. But I think if we somehow manage to get these two back, I think there'll be some stabilization there. Um, no, Deontay Johnson is not going anywhere. CBS, stop lying. Yeah, I saw the article. CBS, stop lying. Y'all always lying, bro. Get it together, CBS. Bro, these people took a quote after the game of the Washington game saying he was frustrated, he couldn't play every position on the team, blah, 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 and acting like that was means for, grounds for him to want to leave Carolina. No, the man never said any hint of leaving Carolina. I don't know where y'all got that from. That was conjecture. That was pure conjecture, CBS. Stop it. Y'all always confusing this stuff, man. And I'm getting tired of it. I'm really getting tired of it. Your CBS news anchors don't even come out to our practices. They don't watch our games. They watch highlights of our games. The one time that we actually end up on CBS, y'all watch our team, and you think automatically, "Ooh, Deontay Johnson wants to leave just because we're next to the trade. We're this close to the trade deadline." Man, get a clue. You don't know a thing about this team. Y'all trying to, man, I'm telling you, that's the media for you right there. That's the media. That's straight up the media. Tell me I'm wrong. This is not the first time they've done this garbage, man. They've done it several times a year. And I don't appreciate it. As a Panthers fan, I don't like when a media team tries to tell our team who they are and what they should be doing. Dave Canales and Dan know what they're doing. Leave them alone. Leave these players alone. Let them do what they're going to do. Stop coaxing them. Stop pretending like these guys don't know what's best for their own careers. Okay? They know what's best for them. You think if they wanted out, they would have already asked for it by now, right? Come on. Any of them. Any of them. could have asked for a one way ticket out of Carolina by now on a trade package. Not a single one of them asked for it. You know why? Because they believe in Dan and Dave and the plan that is in place here. Yeah, the record might not look good. Nobody's buying into the record anyway this year. If you thought this was going to be a playoff team before this season even started, you're delusional. I'm sorry, you're delusional. We don't have that kind of talent. You're wearing Panthers color glasses right now. With all due respect to you, if anybody truly actually believed that, I'm sorry, you're wearing Panthers color glasses. And I gotta tell the truth, man. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Why would I lie to y'all? Why would I lie to y'all? I had us winning 67 games this year. I don't do that. I'm an honest man. And y'all need to hear the truth, whether you like it or not. Y'all need to hear it. We did not have that kind of talent. Period. We knew we didn't have that kind of talent. Let's stop acting like we did. Please stop pretending like we did. I'd love to pretend I own a mansion with two driveways, man, and like three BMWs sitting in my driveway, but it ain't real. It ain't real. Shoot, man, this craziness, man. This craziness in this fan base, man. I love y'all. I do. But some of y'all just this ain't it. This just ain't it. All right. But yeah, going back to the package deals, I think we might be able to. It depends on what people think Miles Sanders is worth, and there's going to be differing opinions of what Miles Sanders is worth as far as a draft pick by himself. Now we know Ian Thomas is probably only worth maybe a sixth, borderline seventh at this point, because all he does is block. Um, all due respect to Ian, you show me you can do more than that, I'll buy in. I'll raise up your value. But right now, no. That's all he's worth. Um, so we might be looking at. Oh man, I want to say a late round third, maybe a fourth rounder for this trade package that we would get out of it. I want to be honest about that because I don't know. It at this point, I don't know for sure. You know, the evaluation on Miles is still ongoing throughout the year. You know what I mean? And the more he plays, the better his value gets. So, but I mean, he's not going to be any as good as he was with the Philadelphia Eagles when he won the Super Bowl. But he'll still get a hefty price. Let him lead the trade package, and he'll get something for you. That's definitely good. we'll definitely get something. Um, I would ask for a fourth. To be real with you, a fourth and a sixth is what I would ask in return. Um, a seventh is okay because you can turn two sevens into late round sixth. You know, seventh is garbage time anyway in the draft. We're not going to do much with that. So, um, but if you accumulate a bunch of those 6th round picks, you can turn that into something pretty nice. Down the road. Um, I really don't know what this trade package will fetch, but and I hate the idea of him going to Dallas. I do. I hate it, but at the same time, like it does get us what we need. You know what I mean? Um, so realistically, it's a very interesting scenario, and I think it's something worth exploring. I want to see what Philadelphia wants to put into the pot too. As far as like what their suggestion would be. Since they're gonna try to get involved if Dallas is there. But I don't know that they need an extra tight end though. That's the thing. So this could get real interesting very quickly, and it could turn into a bidding war, which is healthy for us, you know, on our end. And what other team might jump in there too? No, it's not going to be Tennessee. No, it's not going to be Arizona. I wish. God, I wish. But at this point, somebody that's halfway decent that needs these two pieces will ask for this and jump into the pool uh, for this trade package. And realistically, the only way to do this is to create a trade package because if you try to trade Miles Sanders by himself, you won't be able to move Ian Thomas at all by himself. It's impossible. Absolutely impossible. Because at that point, by himself, he's not even worth a Subway ham sandwich and some chips. So that's my whole thing, man. It's got to be a trade package. And same with Bryce Young is it's got to be a trade package. We need somebody good in there, that's got some value, and that's why I'm recommending Xavier Woods because Woods has been a disaster this year, in my opinion. Anyway, some streamers don't believe that. I do. His game tape is awful. I went to the stadium myself and watched him play awful for an entire half of football against Atlanta. And granted, he did redeem himself in the second half with some tackles. When we had run defense problems. But that was garbage time though. And you look around and you say, why don't we have any run support? Why don't we have any run support from our secondary? Where's our safety? Where's our corners? Okay, one, Woods has not been providing that at all this year. Let's be real here. Two, Derek Brown has been gone. Josie Jewell has been gone. You know, and Shaq has been gone. Those are three major run stoppers on this defense that are not there. And that at least put us in the average range, you know, as far as like run stop. Um, but without them out there, we are complete garbage. It's like 32nd last in the league. So it's interesting how a few players make that much of a difference. Um, and then you decided to cut Troy Hill, who is a major run stopper as well. Um, yeah, he might have been absolute pure garbage in coverage, the last couple of games before he got cut. But the dude was actually making tackles though. He was stopping the run. Yeah, they might have gotten 5, 6, 7 yards, but as soon as these guys got that far, here comes Troy Hill to make the tackle. You know, he was at least in the vicinity for most of these plays. So honestly, I don't see why you would want to cut one of the few people that's actually making these run tackles. That's what's frustrating me about that cut right there. They didn't even put him back on the practice squad. And this dude saved our butts last year? How many times? Like, we had a completely garbage team last year. It was way worse than this. And Troy Hill kept coming in and saving everybody. I don't want to hear anything about it being his age, okay? The dude is still putting up the same numbers he was putting up last year. Same numbers. It ain't got nothing to do with age. You trying to tell me this is about money? No, we're taking a cap hit by cutting this dude. More of a cap hit than we actually saved. So it ain't about money. So what's going on here? I got questions about Troy Hill, Matt. I got questions on that one. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Nah, nah. I don't. I got questions about that one. I like that Sam Franklin is coming back, man. Sam Franklin to save the day, man, at safety. I'm looking forward to this. And Sam has been very, very consistent back there. When Nick Scott was not available, so I'm satisfied with that. I think Sam will do a good job. I'm pretty satisfied with that spot right now. We're not losing anything with Nick Scott being on IR with Sam coming back. But Sam has got to stay healthy though. He's got to stay healthy. We don't have much beyond that though. I did do a little bit of research on a couple of these players though that we brought in. Let's see. Ugh, excuse me. Long day. Working hard, earning some money, you know what I mean? We got Dane Jackson back, and Dane Jackson did okay against Washington. I'm not going to say he did great, but he did okay. Um, it was enough to get the job done over there, but he still got burnt a lot still, just like all the rest of the corners did. So at this point, tell me what else is new. You know what I mean? Um, People seem to be pretty high on Cam Gill though, and we got Jonathan Harris to try to solve the pass rushing problem partially, and I don't know how well that's gonna work. So we'll just have to see. Um, but let's talk about Bryce Young. Um, with the trade package with Bryce Young and Woods, you might get back um, possibly the same value you would get with Woods with the Miles Sanders trade package. I think a fourth, and maybe a fifth because Woods, does have some history with the Rams and a ring. Um, I could be wrong about that one though. I could be wrong about that value because honestly, both of these trade values, this is kind of up in the air right now. Let's be real, it's up in the air. Every time Woods plays, his value does go down a little bit. So, um, that's my whole thing about that one. Same with Ian Thomas. Every time he plays, his value just decreases. Bryce as well, and I Andy Dalton gets a sprained thumb, and now we get Bryce Young. This isn't the way that I would have liked to see this happen, but um, because as many of you know, I do have a strategy that I would like to see happen with developing Bryce. A lot of people are opposed to it, and that's understandable. I respect it, and I'm used to people not, you know, understanding my point of view and where I'm coming from on some of this stuff because I do think outside of the box a lot, but for the people that don't know, I would have put Bryce Young into situations like the Denver game, the Philadelphia game, the KC game, games that are not winnable games. You know what I mean? Uh, and just let Bryce make his mistakes. You know, he either sinks or he swims in those games. And same with the offensive linemen, they either sink or they swim. Because I'm done with this. I'm done giving crutches to players that don't need them. You know, Icky, I'm done giving crutches to Icky. I'm done giving crutches to Bryce Young. I'm done giving crutches to um to Woods. I'm done giving crutches to Ian Thomas at this point. None of these players are getting it done, and it's time to move on. If I don't see something for Bryce Young in this Denver game, it's time to move on. I would maybe push it to the Giants game in Germany. Maybe. But if he still doesn't get it done at that point, no. Time to go. Time to go. And I've been hearing a lot of talk about Cam Ward at this point. I've been hearing a lot of talk. And I've done the homework. I've watched the man. I've watched him play. This man can ball. I want to straight up say it. This man can ball. Before I mention his stats, I want to talk about Damian Martinez too from the Miami Hurricanes. This dude is not talked about at all. Can we just take a moment and talk about him? Because this dude got my attention when I was watching that Miami game last week. Um, who did they play last week? Who was it? It was Louisville. Louisville. And this game ended up being an absolute shootout. It was a fascinating game to watch. Um, and I'll tell you what, Damian Martinez was an absolute beast in that game too. Against Louisville, 12 carries, 89 yards, and a touchdown. I watched this man plow through that defensive line. I said, "Hold up a minute, who is this?" I'm here for Cam Ward, but I didn't even bank on this dude balling out. Who is this? You know. So who is Damian Martinez? He is a junior, 6 foot even, 232-pound guy from Texas. He's got 78 carries, 381 yards this year, 4.9 average, and 6 touchdowns. I mean, the dude is balling, and he's not talked about at all. Can we talk about what he did today? 15 carries, 148 yards, 9.9 average, 2 touchdowns, and his longest rip of the day was 53 yards. I said, hold up a minute. We got a baller on our hands right here, running back. Anybody know where this dude might get projected at? Because he got my attention real quick. I'm just saying. I'm about to find him actually. Hold up. Yeah. Let me put this up on screen for everybody. Y'all need to see this. Just so y'all know I'm telling the truth, man. I want y'all to see this. Hold up. There we go. Check this man out right here. He's got 10 catches for 130 yards so far this year. 10 catches. They got him at an 82% rushing. 74 break tackles. Where do they have him ranked at? He's not even the yo. This man's not even in the top 10. Where's he at? He's got a 4.55 40 time, which is not bad, man. It's not bad. His draft projection is 7th. His position ranking is 23rd. So with over 1,000 snaps so far, 1,074 to be specific, in 31 games. This dude could be a very big threat coming into the league. He's a workhorse, man. Like they say on this draft, on this scouting report, he's a workhorse, and they got it absolutely correct, man. This dude's got some strength, man. I'm trying to tell you, that man can plow through some defensive lines now. And these guys are no slouches, man. We're talking about a Miami team that has now gone up against Louisville, California, and a very powerful Virginia Tech team now. And he still put up the numbers. I'm telling you, when you put up 3.5 against California, you're doing good. You're doing doggone good. He got a touchdown out of that. That was an absolute shootout out in California, 39-38, and they won. Miami is accurately ranked at this point. They are getting the respect that they deserve. They're not just taking on slouches, they're taking on actual teams right now and winning. And you know what's hilarious? Nebraska lost again. Nebraska lost again. They're 5-3. But I mean, that defense is starting to do a little something something against Ohio State, though. They're starting to do a little something something in Nebraska, man. I'm taking a look at that right now. Because, you know, they held Illinois to 24 to 31 points, actually. 31. Maybe not. Maybe not. But, I mean, you look at who is in this conference, though, in the Big Ten. You're looking at Oregon, you're looking at Penn State, you're looking at Ohio State, Michigan. Wisconsin's been a major power. The Trojans have been a major power at one point. Um, every now and then, you'll see Minnesota come up with a decent team, but it's rare. For some reason, Indiana now has something nasty out there. So maybe we should send some scouts out to Indiana. Indiana. Um, and Oregon, for the first time since Chip Kelly, is finally ranked up in the top 10 again. Maybe we should send some scouts out to Oregon. I like that idea right now. Illinois surprisingly is 6-2. I mean, yeah, there's some talent in that Big Ten. There's some talent. We could pluck some talent in this draft. I'm trying to tell you. So, uh, you could maybe say the Buckeyes had a lazy game that game. You could maybe say that. They had no running game. That's probably where their problem was right there. They didn't have any running game. 29 yards of rushing. Mm, yeah. Only 11 first downs. You let Matt Rule's squad get more first downs than you. Shame on y'all, Ohio State. Shame on y'all. Shame on y'all. Wow. Wow. I mean, I'm sorry. I just had to point that out, though. I had to. That was irresistible to me. Yeah, Alabama storming back with that 34-0 win. You knew that was going to happen. You knew that was coming. These guys are pissed. Look at Vanderbilt ranked 25th. Interesting. 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 I want to see how that plays out. LSU. How many of you claim LSU right now? How many of you claim LSU? They just took that L. Wow. SMU finally ranked for the first time in a while. God, it's been how long? It's just crazy. Anyway, but yeah, I wanted to point out Damien. But here's Cam Ward. Here's the main event. Y'all want to know how Cam Ward did today? This man went 22 for 35, 208 yards, 5.9 average, 62.9 completion percentage, staying consistent throughout the year. No touchdowns, no picks though. You know, and got sacked 4 times. Now look at this sack call. This is what I want to point out to you. Every one of these that you see 3 or 4 sacks in, this is a good team that has good pass rushers that challenge that soft offensive line that Miami has, and they won. And the fact that this man is still putting up 437 yards against California, 319 against Louisville, 343 against Virginia Tech should tell you what you need to know about Cam Ward. This dude is balling. This dude's for real. This is a consistent quarterback rating. This isn't a joke. This is real. And if we're being real about it, folks, man, that number you expect to see in the 400 range against Southern Florida. Southern Florida's garbage. You expect to see those types of numbers. Yeah, this dude's legitimate. This could be Bryce Young's replacement right here. So the people that pointed out that Cam Ward could be Bryce's replacement are correct. I give them credit. They are paying attention. And they actually understand what is going on here in Carolina. So we're looking at a Cam Ward that has 2,538 yards, 24 touchdowns, 5 picks, and a 90.8 quarterback rating. Elusive guy, too. Very fast gentleman. And gets the ball out quickly and accurately. Ball placement is excellent. While facing several people that are trying to tackle in the backfield for a sack. While having these guys right in his grill, he is still hitting these targets downfield. It is crazy to see that. You know, that's somebody we need, man. Because if you consider how much pressure we get per game, per capita, imagine having a Cam Ward back there that is 6'2". Yes, he is tall enough, folks. So if Cam Ward doesn't fan out, you can't blame it on the height if we do draft him. So sorry, all the people that love to use that narrative, that ain't gonna work no more. I don't want to hear that narrative no more after that. But imagine having him back there hitting targets like that. And, we'd still be doing wide receiver separation issues, I feel like, going into next year. Um, unless we draft somebody or we sign somebody really good. But I just feel like I don't know what to do with that wide receiver core right now. I really don't. I know we've got the talent. That's the thing. Like, we've got talented guys. We bring Deontay back and we bring Adam Thielen back, and we've got talented guys. But are we making the most out of the talent that we have? That's the question I'm asking. And the answer is no. I think even with Cam Ward back there, hitting these targets, doing what he's supposed to be doing, I think still it's a matter of, are these wide receivers doing what they're supposed to be doing? You know what I mean? So fixing that wide receiver separation issue is paramount. No matter what quarterback we bring in. That needs to be the wide receiver's main goal for the rest of the year. I want to see that happen. You still need to be catching the ball, and I want to see that extra effort once you catch that ball. Give me some yak. Give me some yards after the catch. That's what I need to see. I don't care who the quarterback is. Give me that. And I'll say, okay, yeah, we don't have anything to worry about with wide receivers, right? Minor issue can be fixed in house with the jug machine as far as catching. You know, um, there's the whole drill of like carrying the football around the whole stadium, and having people try to punch out the ball as far as fumbles is concerned. You could work on that drill. You could. There's a few different things you guys could work on. So I want to see that happen. Defense, I want tackling drills. I just want 2 solid hours of just nothing but tackling drills every day in practices. That's what I want. If I was head coach, that would be happening. I would direct my defensive coordinator to just do that. Okay, I'll be fair because I don't know how long these practices actually last, during regular season. So I'll say an hour. An hour. Each day, 1 hour. Focus on nothing but tackling. Nothing but tackling. I want angles. I want technique. I want footwork. I want the whole shebang. Focus on nothing but tackling for that hour. I want this problem fixed to the best of our ability. And at that point, if these guys are not tackling properly after that, we'll know exactly where the problems are. And we'll say, okay, time for you to go at the end of the year. Best wishes. And I guarantee you, when other coaches see that on tape and they say, now I see where the problems are, with these guys that aren't tackling. I don't want that player anymore. And the value goes down. So, yeah, we probably will lose money doing that. But the problem is, the thing is, do you want to fix the problem or do you not want to fix the problem? You know? Yeah, I understand money. But do you want to fix the problem or not? That's realistically what it comes down to for me. I'm just being real with you. And you put a Cam Ward in there on offense with our running game, and we fix those separation issues, I think he could be dangerous. Even with our offensive line being, spotty right now, it people say it's a top 5 offensive line. I say it's spotty. Because we're always going to have that one person on the offensive line every week that's just not getting it done, for 4 whole quarters. And that's what frustrates me is like, if you've got the talent, why are you not putting in the work, fixing your technique, fixing your hands in the right places, and doing what you're supposed to be doing? You literally have one job. That's the block. Your whole job. This is what you're getting paid millions of dollars for. Fix your technique, man. Now, I don't know what's going on with Icky. Is this dude just like not coachable or something? Like, I don't get it. Does this stuff just go in one ear and out the other? I like Icky, man, but every week, man, he drives me crazy. Every week. I'll give him credit for the Washington game, but before that, though, come on, man. So you did well against Washington, so now I need to see a consistent Icky Equano out there. That's what I need to see. I need to see 2 or 3 consistent games like Taylor Moton is putting out there. Show me that. Don't show me that flip flop stuff. I want to see a full, consistent game from you against Denver this week. Show me that, and I'll start believing that you're actually making progress. Otherwise, I'm going to say that Washington game was a fluke. I'm just saying. Just saying. I got to be real. I got to be real about it, man. Um. All right. So I think with the Bryce Young situation, we can go one of three different ways currently. Um. We can either go out and get a Russell Wilson who's struggling in Pittsburgh at the end of the year. Put him at number two. Um, and of course, draft a quarterback when we're ready. It could be Cam Ward. It could be somebody else, in 2025. Whatever we feel is the best thing that we should be doing with that. So that's door number one. All of these things are going to happen at the end of the year. I don't see them happening at the trade deadline, by the way. So these three doors are open to us at the end of the year. Door number two, we put we go out and we get Russell Wilson. We put Bryce Young at number three, and that's probably the least popular one because everybody wants Bryce Young out of here. So, um, but I'm just presenting it as an option. That's all I'm doing. Now, door number three, we go out, we get Cam Ward. Cam Ward balls out. We put Derek Anderson as a backup. Derek Anderson retires with us, and we go out and we put Jack Plummer at number three. I could see door number three working out real well. I'm gonna be honest with you. Here's the problem with that: you got to develop these quarterbacks, though. If you don't take the time to develop these quarterbacks when they first come into the league, we're gonna have another Justin Fields situation. We're gonna have another Andrew Luck situation. And realistically, they started really going downhill with that around the Andrew Luck era. He's the one that really started that trend going the wrong direction as far as like putting these quarterbacks in there in the fire, you know, with no help whatsoever. Under a crap coach, you know, and it just makes it 50 times worse on a rookie quarterback. Because now you got the pressure of everybody on you, the media, everything, you know, and you're expected to ball out. You're expected to turn into Peyton Manning out there, or Patrick Mahomes, and it's like it's too much, man. It's too much. So for me to say that it's a good idea to go, excuse me, bargain hunting is probably not realistic at this point either because I want that as an option too. The reason I think that these doors are open to us with Russell Wilson is um, he runs the RPO system. That's all he runs, and I want people to keep that in mind. This man has one ring already. He could have had two, and should have had two. As a matter of fact, he was a major contributor in that second Super Bowl against New England, back-to-back years. But my point being, there are some elements in the West Coast that you can turn into an RPO. And I think Russell might find a home here with the types of wide receivers that we have, the types of talent that we have here. You know, with an established running game, and I would say with a pretty decent offensive line. This dude could make a home here in Carolina. The thing is, we don't have anybody that could lure him in, and that's why we would have to pay him extra money. So you're probably looking at like $2.5 million per year. Um, so I'd probably give him like a 2-year contract, $5 million roughly. Plus incentives would probably run you about 6 mil, 6 mil total for 2 years, which is not too. That's not too bad, man. It's not too bad. You're only paying about what 2.7, 2.8 per year. And that's if he hits his incentives. Not too bad, man. We can afford that. So I mean, that's a door open to us. You know what I'm saying? That's a door open to us at the end of the year. I'm not saying we have to do it. I'm just presenting the doors that are open to us. It's our management's choice what they think is the best thing to do. So I'm just allowing the management to understand what's available to them. You know, Free of bias, free of judgment. This is what's here. And if you don't go for Cam Ward, you're making a mistake as far as like drafting a quarterback. I'm just trying to tell you that right now. You're making a mistake. The rest of these guys are not it. I've looked into a few of them. No, Cam Ward is the real deal. You expect these numbers to look like this in the ACC, in a soft ACC. When you're playing against opponents like Louisville, California, Virginia Tech, that's what you expect it to look like. So, I think there is a solution to the Bryce Young problem here, but uh, you got to explore it fully. Um, let's see. Huh. Boise State actually is ranked. Interesting. And all due respect to the Army and Navy, actually, the Army and Navy are ranked this year, which is really cool. Hats off to both. Respect to the Navy and the Army. There you go. There's my salute for both of these teams. My respect. That's really awesome. I love seeing that. Um, Here's the interesting thing. Isn't Pitt part of the ACC? Pitt's part of the ACC, aren't they? Yeah, Pitt's part of the ACC. Okay, so you got Clemson that's ranked, you got Miami that's ranked, you got SMU now, who is part of the ACC, ranked. Shut up. Um, you got Pittsburgh that's ranked. Louisville's still a very dangerous threat. So I mean, that's a good chunk of the ACC up here in the top tier. That's still dangerous. But the rest of it's soft. Yeah, I'll agree. You know, California is finally in the ACC, I believe. Florida State's been garbage. Stanford's over here now. So a lot of garbage teams down here. North Carolina is actually way better than the 4-4 that you're seeing right now, but they're not playing like it right now. So and Duke is better than the 6-2, I think. So it's not as garbage of a conference as you think it is right now. This year, anyway. But typically, yes. If you were using that excuse like 2 or 3 years ago, yes, I would agree. I would definitely buy your argument. Let's see. So the Giants might bench Jones again, and we get the Giants on our schedule later. That's something to look at right there. Let's see. Trevor Lawrence is starting to get on a hot streak. Spencer Rattler is doing okay in New Orleans. Stephen A says the Chiefs are a scarier team than the Ravens. You don't say. Really? You don't say, Stephen A. We couldn't tell that by the record. No, not at all. We couldn't tell that. We weren't even paying attention to the differences in the roster. You don't say. Oh my goodness, man. Honestly, though, I do think Tua's days in Miami are numbered. This dude's had how many concussions and he's still playing? Why? With all due respect to him, I don't agree with that decision. If he wants to play, though, you can't stop him. But, uh, man, I I don't know about this Tua. I'm saying this for your well being, bro. I don't know about this decision, bro. I don't know. I don't think this is the right one to make. But you do you. This is your career. You know what I mean? This is your life. Concussions ain't no joke, man. Caleb Williams has been balling out this year. Jaden Daniels is starting to do some work too. Um, but I mean that's stuff around the league. You know what I mean? Let's get to some comments. All right. Marcos Cash says, I'm betting $125 against the Panthers defense. Yeah, fair. Fair. That's fair. He says 1-16. Nah, I don't see 1-16. Time to tear it down. No, not quite. Not quite. We still got some playmakers in that secondary. it's just they're being asked to do double duty, and it's going to get them hurt, and I don't like it. But it is what it is, man. We're stuck with what we got this year, and we got to make the most of it. It sucks, but I you can't really blame Majaro for that. It's more so just the defensive picks for the offensive for the defensive line. The choices that were made. You can blame Majaro, but at the same time you can't because Dave Canales and Dan were making those moves. So, and ultimately it was their call. But they did have his input. So it's kind of like I don't know here. I don't know. I just don't feel like you can fully blame Ajaro for this problem. You can't predict injuries. You can't predict, just the things that have been happening because of it. You can assume those things could happen, because of the fact that the D line is not getting the job done. But at the same time, like, you can't just assume it's going to happen or not happen and then blame him for it. You know what I mean? I just have a hard time just buying into that. But, to each their own with their own opinions on that. Marcos Cash says, number one pick in the NFL draft, Carolina Panthers select Abdul Carter, defensive end for Penn State. Okay, I don't know much about Abdul Carter. Like I said, I have not dug into a lot of these players, really at all. I don't start doing that until March. You know, I, realistically, I start digging into that can of worms around the combine. Like, I'll check these guys out at the combine. I'll check out some of their highlights, you know, when I'm not on camera, and I'll see what I like, and I'll go from there. But as far as I'm concerned, I'm a positional drafter. That's what I prefer, and that's what our management prefers to do too, and it's worked. The formula worked. We got a sixth of the talent that we're looking for. This year. We still got a ton of work to do, but we patched up a lot of holes in that boat, man. So I like it. But there's still oh boy. There's still a tremendous amount of work to be done. That's just a start. That's a warm up, you know? But yeah, I'll check out Abdul Carter that you mentioned. I'll take a look at him. Thank you for pointing him out. Uh, Mr. Poppy Seeds, or Lack Poppy, my moderator. Give him some love, please. In chat, he is doing an excellent job. Says our roster is so bad, I think that's the truth, but we have a good young head coach with talent like Hubbard and the offensive line. Yeah, I think this is just that fluke year. That fluke first year where we're just trying to evaluate and figure out what we have. And realistically, every good head coach had that first year where they're just evaluating. and did just ran through a normal year, and was like, okay, this is what we have, this is what we don't have at the end of it, and was just like, all right, cool. Now we say what moves can be made based off the info that we collected. Bill Belichick was like that first year. You know, Andy Reid was like that first year. With the Eagles before he started building his masterpiece of an Eagles team that doggone should have gone further than they did. But my point is, every one of these guys had their first year where they had an evaluation process, and this is Dave Canales' first year. Now, the second year, this is where you start really putting the hammer down on Dave and saying, okay, now we want results. You pick up enough talent in this second draft on top of the talent that we already have. You start cutting the stuff that we don't need, cutting and trimming the garbage and throwing that in the trash can. Then you say, okay, this is what we have now. This is what we still need to do. And I still expect some results on the scoreboard and on the record books. All right, so excuse me. So when we go out and we actually play in 2025, I expect some wins. I'm not expecting just 3 quarters. I expect some wins in 2025. You know what I'm saying? Once we have a second draft under our belt and free season and free agency, I expect some wins. Now, I'm not expecting a playoff berth immediately, but I'm expecting us to at least come close next year. It depends on what schedule we have. It depends on a variety of things. But we need everybody healthy next year for as long as we can get them healthy in order to get what we want out of next year. But it is time to start moving forward and progressing, and actually doing something with the talent that we have. That's what's been frustrating me is we're inconsistent about that. There is zero reason why we should be absolutely bombing out to the Washington Commanders and not putting up 3 quarters, at least. There is zero reason why we should be getting our butts handed to us by the Bears for 4 whole quarters and not putting up at least 3.5 on the Bears and winning. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the stuff that needs to change. And it starts this Sunday with the Broncos. It starts with the Broncos. Honestly, it does. You got to get a win over the Broncos. If you want to get taken seriously again, I need a win over the Broncos. We have enough talent. Don't tell me we don't. I consider that Saints game a fluke with the Broncos. But do I think our roster is bad? No. Is it good? No. But is it bad? No. Talent wise, it's mediocre. And we need to do something about getting the most out of that talent. Results wise, oh yeah, it's bad. because we're not executing. And it shows it on the scoreboard, it shows it on the record books. But am I worried about those two things? Not really. I'm more concerned about our progression and our growth. Because if these guys are not learning proper techniques, if they're not learning, proper discipline, where to put their hands, A gaps, B gaps, C, you get the picture. You get what I'm trying to say. If they're not learning how to fix wide receiver separation, if they're not learning how to fix tackling problems, if they're not learning how to fix the little things, you know, and going into next year, these things are still a problem. That's not progress, ladies and gentlemen. That's being stagnant. That's not solving the problem. That's being stagnant. And that is not something I will support at all. No. I'm gonna absolutely give a lot of tough love for that to Canales in our coaching staff at that point because there's no excuse. There's no excuse why you can't fix some of this stuff in house. None. Dude, footwork and mechanics. For starters, you don't need to go outside of Carolina to fix that. Half the battle is mind discipline. That's the player. The other half is physical. Do it. The coach shouldn't have to teach you that. You're at the NFL level. Learn how to do it yourselves. Be self sufficient. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all, man. Do something for yourselves. Don't just sit on it and let it fester and lose that muscle memory. That's what pisses me off is these players just won't put in the effort. Some of them won't. They're just lazy. They're like, we made our millions of dollars. Whatever. Of guaranteed money. Yeah, that's something that irritates me right there. The fact that we have guaranteed money on these contracts actually frustrates me. I want this whole I want these contracts to be incentive based. You know why I want them to be incentive based? Because I want these players to actually do something to earn their money. Yeah, you're signing multi-million-dollar contracts, but you better do something to earn it. You earn as much as you actually put in, work ethic wise. That's what I want to see happen. If you put in a lazy effort, you get just the basic incentives. That's it. You get a small amount, and that's that. But if you ball out, you put in the effort, you get paid. You know what I'm saying? You get paid the full amount, top dollar. That's what I want to see happen. Is incentive based, you know? And it'll never happen because you got players unions and stuff like that. But God bless, would that be beautiful to see? Wouldn't it? That would really be beautiful to see. So instead of all these like BMWs and crap that these players have sitting in front of their house, wouldn't it be nice if they have to earn those with these contracts? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Eh. These people make more in guaranteed money than we see in an entire year, ladies and gentlemen. maybe 5 years. It's disgusting. But anyway, but do we have the talent? Yes. To start building something. Yes. Are we bad? No. Are we good? Absolutely not. So we got to prove that we have the talent that we show that that I'm claiming that we have because we already proved it already with the Bengals game and the Raiders game and the Atlanta game. We just got to keep proving that we have that talent. Yeah, the defense is terrible. That is true. Dual Carter next Michael Parsons type player. Okay. Okay. I'll look into him. I appreciate you pointing him out, Marcus Cash. Thank you. Uh, Facts 100%. Poppy sees, yeah. Our defense is trash. Let's be honest and say what it is. You know what I mean? It is trash. Um, Bryce sucks. Uh, for now, he sucks. We'll see. Uh, Cam Ward balls out by throwing to who? Build the roster before throwing a quarterback under the bus. Here's the problem, man. We have been building a roster, and it's going to take time. People have no patience, man. People have no patience whatsoever. And I know that the response to that is going to be okay, well, we've waited 7 to 8 years. Fair. But we actually have an actual head coach and an actual GM this time. That's the difference, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to be aware of that. That is the difference. Um, Shout out Nick Oder on that comment there. Higo Demas says 31-23 Broncos. Yeah, I could see that. That's if we can put up 23 though. But yeah, I could see that. Um, Marcos Cash says I dominated you in fantasy football league 2-5. I'm coming for that number one spot, 100%. Yeah, this year ain't my year, man. It ain't my year, and I'm not gonna get into all that on stream. Um, but yeah, that was garbage. The way I was treated, trying to set up these leagues. I'm not gonna. Me and our Brian are cool. We're cool. There's no drama. There's no nonsense going on. But I honestly, the way that was um, done was sketchy. Let's put it that way. I think that's putting it into fair terms, right? I don't want to upset him. You know what I mean? But I feel like that I wasn't given a fair shake there. That's just me though. And like, when have you ever seen me really complain about fantasy football stuff? Like, I don't do that. I'm usually one of those people that's just like, you know what? I'll figure it out. I'll make lemonade out of whatever I've got, and that's what I'm doing, man. I'm trying to get my act together here. I'm trying to get back in the swing of that, but just having a bad year. I will say this: if you're in a fantasy league this year, I want to know something. No matter what league setup type you're in, I think the running back free agent list in those fantasy leagues is garbage. I'm usually able to rotate and rotate and rotate, and this year it's just like, no, I can't anymore. Okay, so now what? So I got to figure this out, man, and it's just been a bad year all around. It's been a horrendous year. So yeah, my fantasy league record kind of reflects that. I haven't had time to truly focus on that this year, and that's why you see the record you do. If I'm actually focused on it and doing the things I'm supposed to be doing and getting ahead, and I've got that kind of time and money coming in, to where I can just relax and focus and get ahead and pick up the players that I need, before other people do, then I'll have a better shot at doing this, and getting more points. But right now, dude, I gotta get out there. I gotta work, man. I gotta make money. I gotta take care of business, and I've just had so much on my plate this year to deal with that I just did not have time to fully invest into fantasy football like I wanted to. And it's a shame, man, because you know how much I love doing this, man. You know how smart I am at that, and not to toot my own horn, but I have had some success in fantasy football in those leagues. So I mean, I'm just saying. So when I say it's just not my year, it really just isn't my year. But I'll bounce back. I always bounce back. You know that. Because you remember I started out 0-4 last year. And I still came back, man. I still came back, man, from nothing. I came back from the ashes, bro. 0-4 start last year, and I made something out of it. So don't underestimate me, Marcos Cash. I'm telling you, don't underestimate me. You just catching me on a bad year. That's what it is. You catching me on a bad year, and a lot of crap has happened this year that's distracted me from fantasy football that I've had to deal with. That's way, way, way more important. That takes precedence over this stream, actually. So it, these Sunday streams. So that tells you something, man. But I'm gonna get back in the saddle though. I will. That wasn't intended to be a pun, but apparently it is now. So hey, I'm rolling with it. We're putting the Broncos in here in the saddle. I did not intend. It works. It works. What can I say? Um, but yeah, can I just give a shout out to Jatavion Sanders, man? Jatavion Sanders has been such a baller this year. He's been taking care of business for us, man. I like this dude. Yeah, XL as well. XL has been doing really, really well, and I think he'll be getting some catches this week against the Broncos. So, how many of those catches he'll get, I don't know. But I think that which ones of those games was Brad is it calling? That's the question that I've got for everybody too. Is anyone else asking that same question? Because I'm asking it. I'm not ready to throw the bone at him yet, but you know what I mean? Because if it actually was him for a couple of these games, like the Chicago game and the Washington game, Brad, stay off of the mic. But I got some questions for you, bro. You know what I mean? I got some questions because some of that play calling was whack. It was whack. I'm just being honest. It did not look like the type of play calling that we should be play calling in Carolina at all. And Andy never adjusted it. So I'm like, okay. That's not unusual for Andy, though. He doesn't really do audibles that often. He's one of those old school quarterbacks that doesn't really mess around with audibles too much. And I respect it. I respect it. But at the same time, like, there are times when it's necessary. When they start loading up the box with like 6 or 7 people, it's time to play action that thing. Okay? Audible out of that draw play. There's things that you need to be able to do. And if he ain't doing them, I got questions. You know, Bryce Young, he's going to have to roll out of the pocket a lot. But something's got to happen, man. Something's got to happen. Now, here's my question: where are Jonathan Mingo and David Moore? These guys are not getting any targets lately, and it's concerning when you've got wide receiver targeting issues and separation issues. Where are these two? Oh man, I when Coker is your best wide receiver against Washington, we got a problem. Okay, we got a problem. That's not gonna get it done. That's not it, folks. Take it from me, that ain't it. All right, so I'm just looking at ours roster right now. I haven't even looked at the Broncos roster yet. It's already almost 2. So let's do that. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Da, 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 da. ESPN's. Excuse me on the yawn. I'm a bit tired. It is late, after all. Bo Nix. Mr. Bo Nix, let's start with you. 1,246 yards, 5 touchdowns, 5 picks, and a very trash quarterback rating of 49.5. Yeah, yikes. Now, here's my thing. He's inconsistent as heck. Look at these completion percentages. You're looking at 69.4 against the Tampa Bay Bucks, and then has a horrible game against the Jets. 48.0. Comes back, balls out 70.4 against the Raiders. Okay, cool. In a blowout win. And then you play the Chargers and then 57.6. Comes back 61.5 against the Saints. Now, if we're following this trend correctly, he's about to drop off the face of the earth again in quarterback rate, completion percentage. Now, that doesn't mean he still can't beat us. He's been sacked 5 times in the last 5 games. 3 against the Raiders, 2 against the Chargers. Look at this garbage quarterback rating. 35.0 against the Jets, 26.1 against the Raiders, 54.4 against the Chargers. Ouch. His highest was 83.2 last week. But again, I think it's a fluke because look at this. 16 for 26, 164 yards against the Saints. Proving the Saints defense is for real. Okay, if they held him to those numbers, it is for real. Now, let's see. What else do we want to focus on? He's still not getting over 200 yards in the last 5 games. Look at this. Not even over, barely over 200 yards. 216 against the Chargers, 216 against the Buccaneers, 206 against the Raiders. That's the highest we're looking at in the last 5. Like, you got to start questioning, man. You got to start questioning. Is this dude legitimate or not? 2 touchdowns against the Chargers, 2 against the Raiders, 1 against the Jets. Let's see. Honestly, I'm not buying into Bo Nix at all. Just not doing it. 4-3. They're better than the Chargers, better than the Raiders. Chargers and Raiders are going stagnant right now. Who else do we want to look at? Courtland Sutton. 21 receptions, 277 yards, 2 touchdowns, 13.2 in average. He got a touchdown against the Chargers, got a touchdown against the Jets. But really? His highlight was Against Tampa Bay was 68 and 50, 60 yards against the Jets. That's it. Decent amount of first downs, you know. Okay. Moving on to Troy Franklin. 12 catches, 110 yards, one touchdown, 9.2. Again, let's look at him. 9.2. Uh, so getting first downs against the Raiders, Chargers, and Saints. Okay, not really that much of a threat, but he can still move the ball, so we got to be careful. Hmm. I mean, I don't recognize anybody else really big from the starters. Let's see. Marvin Mims Jr. They just drafted him. Hmm. All right. I'm not seeing really what anything else to really look at on offense, so I'm going to move on to the defense. They're running a 3-4. They've got Zach Allen. Zach Allen has 19 solo attacks, four sacks so far. Uh, 44 and a half stuffs on the record. He's gotten a half a sack at least a game. This dude is a concern. No, that's not who I was wanting to look at. There. Yeah, half a sack a game. This is my point right here. Look at this. 3 assisted tackles versus 5 solos. 2 assisted tackles versus 5 solos. 1 assisted tackle versus 4. This is what I'm talking about right here. When you have good defenses, you're going to see players like that handle their own business. So sick of this. Uh, Screw you, Charter. For God's sakes. Let me see the stupid. There we go. I got work to do. Leave me alone, Charter. Patrick Surtain is a very dangerous player. Nick Bonito. Uh, let's see. Don't recognize the rest of these names really. John Franklin Myers, I do. Hmm. Okay. So, um, Let's get comfortable with John Franklin Myers here. 8 solo tackles, 3 sacks. This is not someone we want to sleep on. Look at these. 1 sack against New Orleans, 1 sack against Tampa Bay, and 1 against the Jets. Justin Strand, 23 solo tackles, 3 sacks. So Justin Strand mainly focuses on the run stop. And he's had a lot of success so far with stuffs, as you can tell. He's a run stopper. PJ Walk is injured, so we'll see a lot of JL Skinner. Brandon Jones. Let's take a look at Brandon Jones. 32 solo tackles, 1 forced fumble, 1 interception, 3 pass deflections. Making him a very, very dangerous threat back there. He had 11 solo tackles out of 12 against the Chargers and went off in that game. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough. But, 12 pass deflections in his career. Okay. Let's take a look at Riley Moss. 33 solo tackles, 1 forced fumble, 1 interception, 5 pass deflections. Yet again, very dangerous guy here. Doesn't focus on sacks, just handles his business. Nickelback. We got Jaquan McMillan. 27 solo tackles, 1 forced fumble, 2 pass deflections. Keep it away from that secondary. These guys are thieves, man. I'm starting to understand why their defense is so dangerous now. That's very interesting. What's Patrick Surtain doing this year? 8 solo tackles, 2 interceptions, 5 pass deflections. Yeah. Let's see. Cody Barton. 23 solo tackles, 1 sack, 1 forced fumble. Seven assisted tackles against the Chargers. But he got a sack against the Saints. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm starting to really learn this defense now. Starting to understand what we're dealing with here. Dang it, Charter, stop it. Trying to work. you know, let's see. J.L. Skinner. 4 solo tackles so far. Basically, I haven't done a lot of everything. All right, that is your Denver defense, and it very, very dangerous starters here. I think most of the danger is in the secondary, so we don't want to try to push the ball downfield very much if we can. Just keep it to medium range. Um, let's not get into ourselves into situations where we have to push the deep ball. And if we have to, then we have to. You know what I mean? Because you do really need to move the ball down the field. But um, without the talent of Adam Thielen and Deontay Johnson, I don't see that as much of an option at the moment. Unless you're trying to throw it to XL. But yeah, I would watch out for these corners, though. Yeah, these guys are no joke, man. They'll shut a lot of that stuff down. All right. Injuries. Let's take a look at injuries. PJ Locke is doubtful for the Denver Broncos. Josh Reynolds is on IR. Alex Polinsky, the offensive tackle, is questionable. Luke Wattenberg. Excuse me. IR. Tyler Batty, the running back, IR. Alex Singleton, IR. Dorian Turner Yell is out. Drew Sanders is out. Quinn Bailey is on IR. So when we take a look at our injuries, if I could find them. Yeah, it ain't gonna be there. Uh, trying to find it. Okay, we'll just go to ESPN. So, okay, injuries for us. Here we go. Oh my goodness, look how long that is. Here we go. Crumity IR. Sam Franklin Jr. is questionable. He's probably going to be back. Nick Scott is on IR. Jonathan Brooks is out. Jimmy Robinson is out. Knee injury? Come on. Freaking Charter is not letting me do anything right now. I hate it. Alright. Yeah, Jamie Robinson has a knee injury. Oh boy. Did not practice on Friday. Josh Neiman questionable with a knee injury. Now, add up all the totals of people that have knee injuries and foot injuries. Come on now. Something's up, man. I'm telling you, call it a weird conspiracy theory, but there's something going on with these practices, man. These drills and practices. I'm telling you, I know how to spot this stuff. When I see a pattern of multiple knee injuries and hamstring injuries, something ain't right. Something ain't right. It smells fishy, and y'all know it. Come on now. Remember, they investigated Ron Rivera's training staff. Now, keep that in mind. I never did hear back about the results of that either. What happened with that? Somebody let me know, either in the chat or the comments section, because I'd like to know. But hey, they got investigated, man, and it was bad. All right, so Taylor Button is questionable. DJ Wanham is out. Quadriceps injury. Jordan Fuller, IR. Hamstring injury. Clowney is now questionable with a shoulder injury. Quaden, questionable. Hamstring injury. Jesse Joel, questionable. Hamstring injury. Alshon Robinson, questionable. Knee injury. Dane Jackson. Hey, what I tell y'all? What I tell y'all? These guys are trying to do too much, and they got themselves hurt. Look at this, doubtful with a hamstring injury. What are we doing? We're teaching these guys how to be Superman when they don't have the talent for Superman. Tommy Tremble questionable. Back issues. Cam Newton with a thumb injury. Adam Thielen IR. Hamstring injury. Deontay Johnson out. Rib injury. Austin Corbett IR. Shaq IR. Derek Brown IR. Amari Barno out. Knee injury. Another knee injury, by the way. Keep it rolling. Anthony Brown with a thumb injury IR. Popo Masre. Undisclosed injury. Raekwon Williams already hurt with an undisclosed thing, and we just got him? Something doesn't seem right, man. If we're gonna call Raekwon Williams glass out there, because he has an undisclosed injury, and he got cut because of it. Come on, man. What in? I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't get it. Anyway, bottom line, top three things that are supposed to happen if you want to try to win this game. One, establish a running game. Two, Bryce needs the ball out. Three, the defense needs to play better and execute better. None of these three things are going to happen. So honestly, I don't know, man. Blah, 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 okay. Any other talent? uh, Any other things that we want to talk about today? Um, let's go ahead and do schedule prediction for this week. Jets in New England. Jets. Easy one there. Philadelphia and Cincinnati. I've got Philadelphia. Green Bay and Jacksonville. I'll take Green Bay on this one. Green Bay's playing better. Tennessee and Detroit. I've got Detroit. Tennessee just lost DeAndre Hopkins, so I mean, at this point, nobody wants to go to Tennessee. Atlanta and Tampa Bay. This one could go either way. To be real with you, I'm picking Atlanta by by 3 points. I'm picking Atlanta. Arizona at Miami. I've got to go with Arizona here. I feel like Arizona's getting a little bit better gradually under Kyler Murray, but it's nowhere near enough. Nowhere near enough to be a contender. Baltimore and Cleveland. I'm picking Baltimore. Obviously. Indianapolis and Houston. Oh, you know I gotta go with the Flacco. Flacco's been on fire lately. That's another win for the Colts. Getting themselves back in order again. Saints and Chargers. Now you know I gotta pick the Saints on this one. Come on. It just is what it is. Uh, Buffalo and Seattle. I'm going with. Hmm. You know, that might be a tougher game than I think because these guys are getting better and better in Seattle. And Buffalo's kind of dropping a little. We might see an upset here, Seattle. I'm going Seattle. I'm picking the upset. Let's make it happen, Seattle. Chicago and Washington. I got to go with Washington. I got to go with Washington. This is where Chicago gets exposed. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the games that Chicago gets exposed. Because they're not a legitimate 4-2 team. I'm sorry they're not. This is where people start to see the real truth behind the curtain. All right, so KC and the Raiders. I've got KC, obviously. Getting into the Sunday night game, Dallas and San Francisco. I'm going to go with Dallas. Again, Dallas looks better. Clearly proven. And the Thursday night game, the Rams beat the Minnesota Vikings. Look at this. The Rams beat the Vikings. That was surprising. I did not expect that to happen. Stafford has been playing slightly better lately. and that might be the reason. Hmm. Okay. I would have picked the Vikings on that one, but whatever. It is what it is. Giants at Pittsburgh. Oh, I got to choose Pittsburgh. Come on now. With the quarterback drama in New York right now, gotta go with Pittsburgh on Monday night. All right, so that being said, score prediction for this game. Oh, this is where it sucks because I hate to do this, but 34-10. 34-10 in favor of Denver. I'm doing this because we have not shown any progress consistently lately. Maybe we put up 3 quarters against the Broncos. Maybe we don't. That's the score you should expect to see if we don't. If we do, and Bryce somehow does a little something something out there, by some miracle, I'd be willing to put. I'd be willing to go Broncos 27-14 at that point. You know what I mean? We put up a good defensive front for a little bit, for 3 quarters. But then again, it starts to fall apart. And the reason I'm going with those scores specifically is if you look at Denver's typical scoring numbers. They managed to only put up 20 against Seattle. They put up 6 against the Steelers. They put up 26 against the Buccaneers, and then inconsistently put up 10 against the Jets. Next week, 34 against the Raiders. Following that, only 16. Saints game, they put up 33 points offensively. Our game, question mark. With our garbage defense, do they stay on pattern here and have a terrible offensive game? Or is this the game where they start to get some consistency? Which one's it going to be? Which game's it going to be? They have won 4 out of their last 5, ladies and gentlemen. Buccaneers, Raiders, Chargers, Saints. All decent teams. And played a really close one against the Steelers and Seahawks. This is a legitimate team. I stand corrected on this. This is a legitimate team. At first, I was thinking, the Broncos are garbage. They're trash. Against Seahawks and Steelers. And then I got to looking at some of those scores, and I said, hold up a minute. Hold up, one cotton picking minute. These guys actually beat the Buccaneers? And then they follow it up with a win over the Jets and a big win over the Raiders. Gee, where does that score look familiar against the Chargers? And then again, where does that score look familiar against the Saints? That's very interesting, right? Anyway, I just thought that this was something that should be addressed, considering. Um, so maybe, just maybe, that 4-3 might be legitimate. We know that defense is. All right, so you give up 26 points against the Seahawks, only 13 against the Steelers, only 7 against the Buccaneers, only 9 against the Jets, only 18 against the Raiders, only 23 against the Chargers, and only 10 against the Saints. So that's a legitimate defense right there. That defense is for real. You got Troy Franklin, who was a 4th round pick. You got Bo Nix, who was a 1st round pick. Just saying, very dangerous players. This is going to be a true test for this team, and we're either going to pass or fail developmentally in this game and growth wise. Are we going to pass or are we going to fail? Telling you, those scores start to look a little familiar. Just a little bit. Just a tiny bit. You know what I'm saying? Don't they, though? Don't they, though, folks? Hmm. Anyway, something to keep in mind. Um, hmm. Right. We did confirm Shakira is going to be performing at the Bank of America Stadium as well as Metallica in 2025. So that is those are confirmed things that are happening in BOA. You're also going to have the ACC Championship in BOA Stadium. Looking forward to that. It's going to be Clemson versus whoever. I know that much. Typically is. Looking forward to it. Uh, hmm. I'm just looking through the staff. Football analytics manager. Hey Benjamin, did you catch the amount of solo tackles that we've got? I got it. Research analyst. We have a research analyst. Benjamin, between you and Mike, did either one of you catch the fact that our defensive line has a bunch of assisted tackles? I have to ask that question. I don't know. I'm gonna kind of keep my mouth shut about anything else though, because I don't know anything about these guys. So, but neither one of them caught that. Dan Morgan didn't catch that. Brant Tillis didn't catch that. Dave Canales didn't catch that. Come on. You're trying to tell me nobody caught that in the stats in our management? I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, we'll start streaming early tomorrow before the game. We'll let you guys have your say, and talk about whatever topics you want. I'm sure something else will pop up, content wise that we could talk about before the game. So, or I'll see something that we missed, or who knows what's gonna happen, right? All right. So, oh, by the way, happy 33rd birthday for the Carolina Panthers. On this day, we were inaugurated as a team in the NFL in 1996. Amazing, right? But yeah, um, let's get ready for some football. Another Sunday, guys. Another Sunday. It's going to be painful. It's going to be another Sunday of football for the Carolina Panthers, but it's all going to, as always, it's always entertaining as long as they're playing on the field. Unless they're getting their butts handed to them like last weekend. So, all I'm asking for these players to do is just play your best. Give me 3/4 of your best. That's all I want. 3/4 of your best. At least. If you got more in you, then you got more in you. And we know which players have more in them than that. That are seasoned vets. Come on. But if you don't, you don't. All right. I gotta get up early tomorrow, so I'll see you guys around. What, we're starting the game at 4:30. I'll aim for 3:30. We'll probably start up about 4 though, most likely. That's how this works. Or around game time because I'm always late. But looking forward to it, guys. You know how it is. We're gonna take care of business, guys. We're gonna do it. We're gonna we're gonna play like we mean it, and we're gonna make progress. It's not gonna be easy, but we're gonna make progress. We have to, or we're gonna keep falling behind. All I'm saying is ball out, man. Ball out. I'm done. I'm done talking about it. Just ball out. You know what I'm saying? Just ball out. we know what issues we have. We know what issues, you know, we can fix. And either we fix them or we don't. I don't know. I don't really know what else to tell you. But yeah, this one may not be any different, but than the last 4 or 5 that we played against them in Denver. But here's hoping. Any given Sunday, right? Any given Sunday. All right. Shout out Isaiah Sizik. Shout out Gerald Ross. Welcome to the stream. We enjoy having you here as a Broncos fan. Of course, all 32 teams fans are welcome here. Shout out AKF. Shout out Marcos Cash. Shout out Lock Poppy. Shout out Nick Oder. Shout out Higo Demask. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. As always, you know what to do. Stay happy, healthy, and well. And keep pounding. See you tomorrow. Hit that like button, hit that sub button, hit that bell, select all, leave a comment down below if you feel like doing so. Don't forget to check out the Facebook group page. Keep pounding in all caps for in-game post polls, opinions, and reactions to NFL news, such as scheduling for the channel and for the Fantasy Football Keep Pounding League. If you want to get your hands on an intro like this, if you're a content creator, go check out Lindara Ty on Instagram. Fair prices, very kind, very awesome person to work with. She'll get you a reasonable price. She's looking for new people to work with. So, if you like this content, slam that like button. Destroy that sub button. We trying to get those subs up to 600, y'all. Come on, y'all. Get us up to 600, baby. I'm seeing the 10,000 on Facebook. I want to see 600 on Facebook, on YouTube, man. I want to see it. Get it going, man. Share the stream. Let them know we live. Let them know we doing what we do. All right. Stay happy, healthy, well. Peace and keep pounding.